morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so today we need to look at the most expensive cards that are coming around in Paradigm Trigger. Now, obviously, these cards for us are going to be in Silver Tempest. There is absolutely, and it should be obvious at this stage, right? There is obviously no guarantee that the prices I give you for these cards in Japanese coming from Paradigm Trigger is going to be the same as the price that we actually end up paying when they come around in Silver Tempest. What is going to be the same, though, is the rough order. So the cards that are the most expensive in Paradigm Trigger should translate to the cards that are the most expensive in Silver Tempest, so take it as an order or a super rough guide. But I showed you a video just the other day how super expensive Japanese cards do tend to end up being quite a bit cheaper over here. At the high end, especially in the last couple of years, at the high end, Japanese singles are just more expensive. At the lower end, they can often be cheaper, but lately at the higher end, Japanese singles have been redonk. So we might as well start off at number one with the obvious one. It's the alternate art Lugia. Now, I'm kind of looking on Card Rush at the moment, but honestly, I've had a look around in other places. It's just nice to use uniform images. And at the moment, as a rough guide, this is about an 80,000 yen card. We've seen it go over 100,000 yen. You could probably pick it up slightly cheaper over on Mercari, which is a marketplace they use a lot in Japan. And although there you couldn't necessarily guarantee the condition of it, whereas on Card Rush, where I'm using the images from, what I like is when a condition is different, they will change the price of it. So this shakes out at somewhere in the region of $550 or £475. It is not cheap. It is one of the most expensive cards we've seen for a very long time. I'm not going to go into huge detail about this. I did a video all about this card on its own just the other day, so I don't think we need to go into a huge amount of detail, but just bear in mind, if you're looking for the most expensive cards in the set, it's this. And it's not even close. That's not to say there aren't other cards in the set that aren't worth a few quid, but this is, by a rather redonkulous margin, number one in the set. Number two in the set is actually Candice, which makes me, the full art obviously. This does make me a little bit sad, purely because I like the artwork on this. This is a beautiful piece of artwork. And, the problem is that with this now being so expensive, it means I've basically got to pull it from my box, or I'm never getting this card, which is a little bit sad. I would very much like this card, but you can't win them all. This one comes in at the moment at around about 31,800 yen, just shy of 32k, and that means that we're talking around about $220, or we're talking about £190, which is, it's a lot. Frankly, ladies and gentlemen, this is an awful lot. But we got a popular female full art trainer, and we've seen this a lot. Over in Japan, the full arts of the popular female trainers, when they come through as supporters, they end up going up very high in value. It's not on the same level, but we also see that Worker comes in at 4,550 yen as it stands at the moment. So 580 yen. And, you know, even that comes around at about $31 or £27, which I know is not terribly expensive, but come on, Worker's like a terrible card. Draw 3 and discard a stadium. It's up there higher than other supporters, and honestly, that one does seem a little bit high to me. It is also worth bearing in mind, as always, Rainbow Rares just ain't the same. The Rainbow Rare of Candice is coming in at 2,980 yen, which you might notice is less than 10% of the value of the full art. Literally less than 10%. That's absurd, ladies and gentlemen. That is absolutely absurd. 2,980 yen, you're talking around about $20 or £18. So basically, if you really like Candice, go and get the Rainbow Rare. Of course, I really like the artwork of Candice, not necessarily for the Candice, but for the lovely scene and the kind of running through the town. I think it looks fantastic. You don't have that in the Rainbow Rare, so brilliant, I suppose. Yeah. Now, the number 3 card is very, very interesting. It is actually the promo Lugia that came around from the mystery box. Now, I know it isn't technically a card from Paradigm Trigger, and this one might not end up in Silver Tempest. We're still waiting to see on that one. It's probably going to be a promo or something at some point. But remember, they've got that product over in Japan, the mystery box, which I've not been able to find for anywhere near RRP. If anybody's got a lead, please let me know. But basically, you buy the mystery box, and you get yourself a pair of sleeves and deck box, and you get yourself one of 4 promos. Now, the Lugia is interesting. The Lugia comes in at like 20k, 19,800 yen, which is an awful lot. If we go and put that into our currency converter, we find that is, oh my god, $135 or 117 pounds. I'd not run the maths on that one. That's high. And here's the thing. You get one of 4 promos. The other 3 are 2,000 yen cards. The other 3 are literally 2,000 yen cards, so roughly like $14. And this is 20,000 yen. And this, incidentally, this is one of the reasons why I'm going to continue to struggle to find the mystery box for a decent price, because now there is a card in the mystery box that is a $135 card. And with that background, that is going to drive the price of the mystery box up, because they want to pull the Lugia, which is a hyper expensive card, and round we go. So yeah, if anyone's wondering why the mystery box is so redonkulously expensive, that's why. Now, the top 3 there really are the top 3 by a wide margin. But if we look at number 4, we've got the Gold Lugia, which comes in at around about 8,500 yen. The near mint version. There are some cheaper, lower grade ones, but 8,480 yen. Which is, yeah. You're talking around about $58 or around about £50. And it's just Gold Lugia V Star. The thing is, people like Lugia V Star. It's actually a really good deck. Shout out to the lovely Ethan Heggie, who over in Japan this past weekend did go and actually get a top 8 finish out of City League with Lugia. Lugia's a really good card. And you may notice that Lugia is just a spectacularly popular Pokemon. And I did tell you that the Lugia cards could end up, making waves in the most expensive card race. And it kind of seems like that's happening. Lugia's just a well-expensive card. All the Lugia. And sure, it's just the gold version. It's fine. But, yeah, this is expensive. For anyone that's interested, the Rainbow Rare version of it actually comes in a fair bit cheaper. It's 4,580 yen, which is quite a lot less. Over in Japan, they really do not like those Rainbow Rares. You're talking around about $31 or around about £27. It's interesting to note that over in US, Europe, etc., the gold and Rainbow Rares of the big Pokemon V Star, they tend to kind of hover around the same price. There doesn't seem to be a huge difference between them. And yes, I'm sure on a particular day you can go and find me some examples where that's not true. But I look at this stuff quite a lot, and generally speaking, they tend to hover around about the same value, whether it's a gold or the Rainbow Rare. Over in Japan, there is no real question here. It is the gold. It's not quite as hilarious as the difference between the Full Art and the Rainbow Rare supporters, but it is still a pronounced difference. Now, for my money in the set, one of the, if not the best of the alternate arts is Regidrago. Regidrago comes in at 8,000 yen, 7,980, and this is where we're getting into sensible territory. These are still worth more than a booster box, but you're going into sensible numbers. This is about $55 or around about £47. Still a very good card. Still absolutely one you want to pull, and I adore the artwork on this Regidrago, but it's not ridiculous. These are standard singles. This is what you would generally want to be paying for, like the best card in the set. Now, if you don't include the Lugia, as in the promo Lugia, then you're actually looking at the 4th biggest card in the set, but Lugia Gold's about the same. It really is. In the booster boxes, 2 are ridiculous, and then after that it settles down quite quickly. The unknown alternate art comes in at 7,180 yen, so just a smidge over 7,000, and that means you're talking around about $49 or £42. And this is the other one for me. It's Regidrago and Unknown. It's kind of hard to choose between them. They are both absolutely stunning. If anybody's wondering, I do have boxes coming, but it's a long story, but I'm not going to get them in the next couple of days, which is a bit sad and entirely my own fault and my own choice. I did this to myself. I deserve no sympathy, but don't worry, I open all the Japanese sets, as you can see on this channel. I do have some Paradigm Trigger coming. For anyone wondering, the Skuntank is by far the least valued of the alternate arts. There's 4 in the set. This one comes in at 3,380 yen, which you'll notice is a fairly big drop-off from what we saw on the others. So you're talking $23 or £20, and it's literally like $19.99 as the currency conversion rate holds today. So yeah, this one is fairly cheap. Now, the only other ones that are probably worth looking at here, the full art of Lugia comes in at 3,800 yen or 3,780 if you want to be a bit of a pedant. Tiny bit more than Skuntank V, you're talking around about $26 or around about £22. Again, it's a Lugia, and you don't really need much more than that, honestly. It's a Lugia. The full art is fine, but as you can see in this set, there is a real premium put onto all the Lugia cards. Speaking of which, there is that one card promo pack that you get when you buy a box from the right retailer, and obviously, like, the big hit from that is the alternate art of Lugia V Star, which is very, very cool. None of the others are worth really anything, honestly, but the alternate art of the Lugia V Star is actually coming in at a respectable 2,380 yen. Now remember, this is essentially a box topper that you might not always get it, so it's $16 or £14. I like this because I've got a pretty much complete V-Star collection going on from Japan right now, and this means that if need be, I can go and pick this one up. I'd rather not have to pay 14 quid for a box topper, but I can if I'm desperate, so you know what? This is all right. The story from Paradigm Trigger really is Lugia Alternate Art, Candice Full Art, and the Lugia V Mystery Box promo. They are the 3 to really look out for. After that, it drops very sharply, and there are an awful lot of secret rares in this set that aren't really worth very much at all. So it is kind of a boom or bust set in a way, but there is still that middle ground with stuff like Gold Lugia and Alternate Art Regidrago and Unknown, where there is still some value to be had. Unfortunately, the ridiculous Lugia cards might mean that on the secondary market, this set for a while becomes a real pain to try and actually pick up. Hey ho. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about this. I want to know your takeaways. I want to know anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games and all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio. That's where you can support the channel. You can get some pretty much weekly bonus pods to answer all of your questions. You can join a Discord to chat with us. And you can get shoutouts on the channel, like the lovely Edgar Menares, who has been a supporter of ours for a while and is a very lovely person. So thank you for being a supporter and for being a very lovely person. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.